The first rule of my new fire lookout job was simple. Never wear red. They never explained why, until people started disappearing. Every missing hiker, every vanished ranger, all of them broke that rule. And last night, the radio used my voice to ask me to come outside. I should have ignored it, but I didn't. My name is Jack, or at least that is the name I will use here, because names lose their importance once a place starts changing you. There was a time when my entire life was filtered through a glowing screen, and that is not an exaggeration meant for effect. It was literal, measurable, unavoidable. I checked once, late at night, after the office had emptied and the city outside the windows turned into reflections. 14 hours a day. That was the number staring back at me. 14 hours scrolling, tapping, typing, responding, consuming, disappearing. About half of it could be justified as work, messages, calls, documents, meetings that could have been emails that never stopped. But the rest of it was just me existing without purpose. Thumb moving on instinct, eyes absorbing content without memory. I woke up every morning reaching for my phone before my feet touched the floor. Emails before light, notifications before thought. And at night, I fell asleep holding the device, like it was something I might lose if I let go. Sometimes waking just to check it again. I lived alone in a condo that cost more than it deserved to. A place designed to look successful and feel empty. Blackout curtains sealed away the outside world. Noise-canceling headphones replaced silence with artificial quiet. The fridge was full of meal prep containers I never opened, and a standing desk sat unused in the corner like a punishment I never quite committed to. I ordered food more times than I could count, bought things I did not remember ordering, and went weeks without speaking to another person face to face. Most conversations happened through text, through headsets, through carefully typed sentences that carried no warmth. I worked for one of those technology companies people like to talk about, the kind featured in articles with smiling stock photos and buzzwords. Cereal bars instead of cafeterias, motivational slogans painted on walls. My job title sounded important, but meant almost nothing. Product innovation lead, vague enough to mean whatever the company needed it to mean that week. I wore tailored suits. Attended meetings where people spoke in circles using words like alignment and scalability. Nobody laughed because nobody thought it was a joke. I was praised for my responsiveness, promoted for my availability, rewarded for never unplugging. And the strange thing was that I was genuinely good at it, frighteningly efficient, always reachable, always on, and it made me feel absolutely nothing. There was no breakdown, no dramatic collapse, no shouting or tears or public failure, just a slow, heavy understanding that this could not possibly be all there was. One night, long after everyone else had left, I caught my reflection in the dark office window, the city lights behind me turning my face into a faint outline, and for a moment, I barely recognized myself. I did not look like a person anymore. I looked like a shape wearing expensive clothes. That night, I checked my screen time again. 14 hours. The next morning, I resigned. I sold the suits, the furniture, the condo, even the desk. I cut everything away cleanly. Without ceremony, my parents were confused. My coworkers framed it as a break or a realignment, like it was something planned and respectable, and I did not bother correcting them.
Welcome to True Terror Narrative.
I applied for a fire lookout program run through a National Forestry Service, and they accepted me faster than I expected, probably because not many people volunteered to live without signal, comfort, or distraction for months at a time. The first weeks were rough in ways I was not prepared for. My boots tore my feet apart, blisters forming faster than they could heal. I struggled to read topographic maps. Every unfamiliar sound in the forest sent my heart racing. I was afraid of animals, afraid of mistakes, afraid of the silence that pressed in once the wind stopped. But the work itself was simple and honest. You watched for smoke, you logged what you saw. You wrote everything down even when nothing happened. You hiked the surrounding trails, cleared brush, maintained equipment. You learned how to sit with solitude instead of numbing yourself against it. Over time, the noise inside my head softened. The constant mental static faded. I did not miss the city, the glass offices, the glowing monitors, the crowded bars full of people pretending to care about each other. I did not miss monthly goals that reset every 30 days like a bad loop. After 2 years, I requested the most isolated post they had, a tower nobody wanted, barely marked on maps. A place so remote it was checked only by radio. They approved it without hesitation. I packed a single bag. No phone, no computer, just a weather radio, a notebook, a map, and a few old books with cracked spines. The ranger I spoke to warned me the tower had not been staffed regularly in years. It sat beyond the service roads. I would have to hike in on foot. Electricity came from solar panels. Water from rain barrels. Supplies arrived once a month if the trail was clear. I told him it sounded perfect. Most people do not really understand what a fire lookout does. You live alone in a tower surrounded by forest and watch the horizon. You scan for smoke, track weather, report anything unusual. That is the job. The tower had windows on every side and an old fire-finding table in the center. A circular device with a map and sighting arms used to determine the source of smoke. Everything was logged. Thunder, rain, wind shifts, even stillness. Most towers are isolated, but not entirely. About 3 miles north stood another tower, older, with a clearer view of the northern ridge. That was where Henry worked. Henry had trained me during my first season. Back when I barely knew how to lace my boots properly, he taught me how to tell the difference between dust and smoke, how to fix equipment with whatever was available, how to move through the woods without startling every living thing around you. He had been doing this work for decades, grew up around rangers, but chose the lookout life because he liked being able to see things before they arrived. Henry could predict storms just by watching the birds. He wore the same patch jacket every year, ate canned soup straight from the can, and kept a cat named Lilac who vanished for days and returned like nothing had happened. We spoke every morning over the radio, mostly about weather and trail conditions. Sometimes one of us would hike out to meet the other when conditions allowed. Then, on my second full day at the new tower, Henry showed up early. His face was calm, but something was wrong. He asked if I had noticed anything strange. I said no, just animals, just the usual movement. He told me to sit down. He ate his soup quietly. Chicken noodle, same brand as always. Then he looked at me and said he believed there was something living out there, something nesting in the forest. He used a word I had only heard in stories, Wendigo. I wanted to laugh, wanted to dismiss it as an old myth. But he did not smile. His eyes stayed fixed, serious. He said we needed rules. After that conversation, I watched the tree line differently, listened harder at night, wrote more in the logbook than I had before. This forest felt different from my previous assignment. Thicker, unmanaged, like it had been left alone for too long. It was not far from town on paper, but out here, it felt like another world entirely. The next day, Henry explained the rules: lights out after midnight, supply drops on Sundays, and then the third rule: never wear red, no red clothing, no red packs, no red hats, nothing at all. When I asked why, he said it was to keep it from seeing you. He showed me missing persons notices, years of them. Hikers, campers, children, even rangers. Every single one of them had been wearing red. He showed me sketches, tracks, photographs, and something tall, thin, and wrong. And despite myself, I believed him. After Henry showed me the notices, the sketches, and the photographs, he did not linger on them. He packed everything away with the kind of care you use for something fragile, not because it might break, but because it might break you if you look at it too long. He told me not to talk about the rules with anyone outside the service. Not hikers, not campers, not even visiting rangers unless they already knew. He said the signs were vague on purpose, strong advice instead of law, just enough warning to keep most people safe without inviting questions. I asked him why the details were hidden, why something that dangerous was treated like a rumor instead of a threat. And he told me people did not handle the truth well. Panic spread faster than fire, and once panic started, nobody listened anymore. From that day on, I watched the forest differently. I logged more than weather and visibility. I wrote down how quiet the mornings felt, how the birds would sometimes stop all at once, how certain trails felt heavier to walk than others, even when nothing appeared out of place. At night, I listened harder, not just for animals, but for absence. The lack of sound that crept in like pressure in my ears. Weeks passed without incident. Long stretches of routine, broken only by supply drops and radio check-ins, and slowly, almost without noticing, I started to relax. The rules faded into the background of my mind, still there, but dulled by repetition and calm weather. Then one morning, during a routine scan of the northern ridge, I saw a flash of color that did not belong. At first, I thought it was a trick of the light, sun reflecting off rock or gear. But when I adjusted the scope, the shape resolved into something unmistakable. A person, a man walking along the North Trail, steady pace, purposeful stride, backpack secured, boots worn in, and he was wearing red, not a dull shade, not something faded, but bright, clean red, a windbreaker that caught the light and held it. My stomach tightened instantly. Nobody came out that far by accident. There were no marked campsites, no scenic overlooks, no casual loops. People who reached that trail either knew where they were going or were trying to disappear. I grabbed the tower loudspeaker and called out, told him he was off route, told him to stop and respond. He did not slow down. I tried again, louder, more urgent, identifying his clothing, telling him to turn around. Nothing. He did not even turn his head, just kept walking forward, like he could not hear me, like the sound never reached him. I switched to the radio and called Henry. Asked if he had eyes on the North Trail. His reply came quickly, too quickly. He said he saw the man too. I told him the hiker was not responding. There was a pause on the line, long enough to feel wrong. Then Henry said quietly that we were heading out. We met at the base of the hill within minutes, packed light, no unnecessary gear. Henry brought his field notebook and a first aid kit. I brought an emergency whistle and an extra flashlight. We did not talk as we moved. The maintenance path wound through dense pine, dipped into a shallow ravine, then curved back toward the clearing near the quarry fence. About halfway there, the forest changed. The birds stopped first, not gradually, but all at once. Like someone had turned a switch, no calls, no wing movement. Nothing. Then the insects went quiet. Even the wind seemed to hesitate, branches frozen mid-sway, leaves hanging motionless. The silence pressed in from all sides, thick and unnatural, and my ears rang with it. Henry slowed his pace, his steps careful, measured the way someone walks when they know they are being watched. We followed the sound of boots ahead of us, steady, unhurried, always just beyond sight. When the trees thinned, we saw him standing at the edge of the clearing, facing forward. Unmoving, Henry called out to him again, told him to stop, told him he was entering a restricted area. No response. The man did not flinch. His hands hung loose at his sides, backpack straps slack like they had never been tightened. Henry approached cautiously and reached for the man's shoulder, turning him firmly, like waking someone from deep sleep. The hiker blinked, mouth opening slightly, confusion written plainly across his face. Henry asked if he was okay. The man nodded slowly. said he thought he had been heading back. I asked his name, Derek, and asked if he was alone. He nodded again, explained he was on a 3-day hike, came in from the South Trail, said his GPS had been pointing the right way. Henry and I exchanged a look. We both knew there was no marked loop out here. The quarry trail was not on public maps. While Henry talked him down, gave him water, tried to orient him, I stepped away toward the edge of the clearing. That was when I saw the tracks. They were large, spaced far apart, pressed deep into hard, packed soil that should not have held impressions like that. They were not boot prints, not elk, not bear, nothing I recognized. I crouched and touched one. The ground beneath my hand felt damp, colder than the surrounding earth. Like the heat had been pulled out of it recently, a chill crawled up my arm. Henry got Derek moving again, turned him toward the main trail, pointed him toward the boundary gate miles away, told him to check in with the ranger station, and to get rid of the jacket. Derek nodded, still dazed, but compliant, and walked until the trees swallowed him. We stood there longer than necessary, listening to the forest slowly wake back up, birds returning one by one, insects buzzing hesitantly. On the hike back, I did not speak. My thoughts stuck on the prints, the cold in the dirt, the way Derek had looked like someone waking from a dream. When we reached Henry's tower, he did not say a word. He went inside and pulled out his field notebook, flipped to a page labeled Observations, and marked the date with a red pen. That detail unsettled me more than anything else. After that day, we did not see any more hikers in red, at least not for a while. But I could not stop thinking about the quarry. Even when the weather was calm and the tower quiet, my eyes drifted toward the northern ridge, the memory of those tracks pulling at my attention. When I finally brought it up to Henry again, he did not argue, but he did not agree either. He told me not to go near it, told me we did not know enough. I told him I understood, and at the time, I believed I meant it. Over the next few days, I pored over his notes whenever I could, tracing patterns, mapping sightings, noting directions and times. Every trail of evidence pointed back to the same place. The quarry. It was not just a landmark. It was the center of it. I tried to keep doing my job, logging clouds, tracking wind, hiking trails, but the sense of responsibility gnawed at me. We had already saved one man. How many others had we missed? How many more would wander too close without knowing the rules? Henry tried to talk me down, said it was not our job, said we were not trained for this, said some things were beyond us. He was right, and I ignored him anyway.